Available for iOS and Android.
Now at 5, we take a look at new laws going into effect this year in the state of Oklahoma.
The new year means new laws are now in effect in many states. I'm Bradley Blackburn with some changes to the minimum wage, teen social media use, and even online ticket sales in 2025.
The mayor of New Orleans says a mass casualty incident that happened overnight was a terrorist attack.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
A few new laws relating to health care, voting rights, and more are taking effect in Oklahoma this new year. This is KOAM News at 5. I'm Tanya Bach. Corinne's Law will require health insurance plans to cover fertility preservation services like sperm or egg freezing for cancer patients. Another new law will allow some convicted felons the ability to vote. Now, some of the circumstances to be eligible include serving the full sentence, having the charge reclassified from felony to misdemeanor, and receiving a pardon or commutation. Another new law expands workers' compensation beyond physical injury for first responders. It now includes mental health conditions like PTSD. We'll have more on new Oklahoma laws tonight on KOAM News at 6. Well, new year means thousands of new laws on the books in the 50 states. As Bradley Blackburn shows us, this year millions of minimum wage workers are getting a raise, and several states took aim at gun laws.
This new year, there will be more cash in the pockets of minimum wage workers. 21 states are increasing the minimum wage beginning January 1st. Washington State leads the nation at $16.66 an hour.
Lives have changed. A lot of stuff has changed. Cost of everything is going up.
In Florida, children under 14 are banned from having social media accounts, and 14 and 15-year-olds can only use social platforms if their parents approve. The law is not being enforced right now because of a pending lawsuit.
It's not just about the law in effect. It's also about kind of an education campaign saying to parents that there are some issues with minors and social media.
California is cracking down on retail theft with more than a half dozen new laws. One increases jail time for large-scale smash and grabs.
I think if there is a punishment for the stuff they've been doing, everybody, they're going to stop doing it, you know.
California is also one of several states enacting more gun safety legislation, while New Hampshire is bolstering gun rights with NRA-backed privacy protections that prohibit the use of specific merchant category codes that could link a gun purchase to a credit card. And a first-in-the-nation law here in New York, the state is offering 20 hours of paid leave a year for prenatal care, for things like ultrasounds or even fertility treatments. Chickens in Colorado are feeling the wind in their feathers. Producers with more than 3,000 hens are required to provide a cage-free environment for the birds, and all eggs sold in the state must come from a cage-free facility.
It aims to curb predatory pricing.
And you may remember the Ticketmaster meltdown over Taylor Swift concerts. Well, a new law in Minnesota requires all-in pricing, which lets buyers know every fee up front. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
Washington, D.C. now has a cashless retail prohibition, meaning customers have to be able to pay with cash and cannot be charged more for doing so. And a more unusual law in Illinois makes it easier to donate deer meat. Well, Chief Meteorologist Doug Hetty joins us now with a first look at weather.
Yeah, it's been a chilly one outside for us today. Temperatures really kind of struggling to warm up. Lower 40s, 38 in Joplin, 39 is where we stand in Pittsburgh, mainly upper 30s to lower 40s. A little bit below where we should be for this time of the year. Cold evening, clear skies, few clouds late as we slide back through the 30s into the upper 20s later on tonight. You can see a few little clouds increasing out to our west. There's a weak wave that is going to slide to our north. So we are going to be kind of in and out of the clouds as we go through the daytime hours tomorrow. Then our next storm system, this is on Saturday, moves in late Saturday. Most of the area we're going to have rain, freezing rain, sleet, maybe even a little bit of snow. So we're going to be breaking this entire thing down for you coming up here in just a bit.
All right, thanks, Doug. We're learning more about the deadly attack overnight in New Orleans' famed French Quarter. 10 people were killed and 35 more were injured when police say a truck rammed into the crowd filled with people celebrating the new year. As Katie Weiss reports from New Orleans, authorities have identified the suspect.
The FBI is investigating the New Year's Day attack in New Orleans as an act of terrorism. This is not just an act of terrorism. This is evil.
The FBI has identified the attacker as 42-year-old Shamsuddin Jabbar, a U.S. citizen from Texas. A U.S. official confirms to CBS News he had previously served in the U.S. military.
We do not believe that Jabbar was solely responsible. We are aggressively running down every lead, including those of his known associates.
Authorities say he plowed a truck through a crowd on the city's iconic Bourbon Street shortly after 3 a.m. local time, then got into a firefight with police and was killed.
We were in the middle of the road and managed to run off the road onto the sidewalk and into the doorway of a building for cover.
Jim Maurer was visiting from Iowa. He said after the gunfire stopped, he tried to help the victims.
People we came across were unfortunately deceased.
The FBI says an ISIS flag was located in the truck, as were weapons and other potential explosive devices. Law enforcement also identified possible IEDs located in the French Quarter.
The mission now is to facilitate, support, and coordinate safety procedures to keep our residents and our visitors safe.
Police say 2 police officers who were shot during the gunfight are in stable condition. Katie Weiss, CBS News, New Orleans.
Well, the incident happened hours before the Sugar Bowl was scheduled to kick off in the city's Superdome. The quarterfinal college football game between Notre Dame and the University of Georgia has now been postponed until Thursday. Well, funeral plans are underway for the late President Jimmy Carter, who will be honored with ceremonies spanning more than a week. And starting this weekend, people can pay their respects at the Carter Presidential Center in Atlanta. On Tuesday, Carter's remains will be flown to Washington, where he will lie in state in the Capitol Rotunda. His state funeral is set for Wednesday, January 9th, at the Washington National Cathedral. President Biden has declared the 9th a national day of mourning. The nation's 39th president will eventually be laid to rest in his hometown of Plains, Georgia. Preparations for the late president's funeral started not long after he was sworn in as president in 1977. Well, still ahead, our pet vet on call.
Hi, I'm Dr. Eva Dudek from Parsons Pet Hospital. Coming up, we're going to talk about why some birds migrate and some stay put.
But first in Health Watch, new year, new energy. We visit with Joplin residents hitting the gym to work on their New Year's resolutions.
Are amazing. That's why at Affordable Dentures and Implants, we have new.
Topping today's Health Watch, one of the most common New Year's resolutions is losing weight. Every Body Fitness in Joplin is starting people on that path with 4 high-energy classes during their New Year's New Energy event. The classes include pound, turn-up, kickboxing, and step aerobics.
Whenever I first started, I wanted it more than I wanted other things. I wanted to be fit more than I wanted to stay at home. And I also found a group of girls that were already going, or a couple of girls already going, and I made really good friends with them, and they encouraged me to go.
Exercise is only one factor to getting healthy. Health experts say you should diet appropriately as well. Well, many of us make resolutions heading into the new year to better ourselves, but we also find those resolutions are often abandoned after a few short weeks. Jeff Wagner has more on how to tackle the resolution of how to better your mental health.
Dave Johnson is on his way to ease his mind. Inside his home is a calming space to meditate. Johnson has anxiety, a disorder that intensified during the COVID-19 pandemic. He works in public health.
Being completely overwhelmed by work and family and just feeling like there wasn't any way out.
Molly Peterson is the director of adult programs for Minnesota's National Alliance on Mental Illness.
I don't think that enough people are saying, I really want to improve my mental well-being in the new year. They want to do better in their job, they want to do better on their weight.
But specifically focusing on mental health can be easy and attainable.
As you mentioned meditation, and that's a great one because it's literally forcing you to just kind of sit in the present moment and not have racing thoughts and negative self-talk.
Here's some tips to get started in the new year. Use an app, as they can guide beginners on how to meditate. Create a space in your home to designate as the meditation area. Set an attainable goal for how often you'll do it. Lastly, find an accountability partner. either someone to meditate with you or gently remind you to stay on track.
It gives me the option of choosing, do I want to continue following anxiety thoughts, or do I want to do something else?
Ultimately, his recipe to better manage it included medication, changing therapists, and making meditation a more integral part of his life. Jeff Wagner, CBS News, Minneapolis.
Well, that's a look at today's health news. A little later, a new year, new coffee prices.
That morning cup of coffee is going to cost more in the new year. I'm Michael George, and I'll tell you why.
Plus, we're tracking a storm system moving in this weekend. We'll talk about that coming up.
Gerard Express Care, open 9
from Denver Mattress.
Well, it turned out to be a cold first day of January for us today. Temperatures only into lower 40s, which is pretty close to where we should be for this time of the year. But sunshine, a nice shot of our Indigo Sky Casino and Resort just outside of Seneca, Missouri. All right, we're dropping back upper 30s to near 40 degrees once you get out across Kansas and also Oklahoma. Cameras down, obviously. Through the evening, slide back through the 30s, eventually into the upper 20s. We'll see clouds increasing as we go through the overnight hours. You can already see some clouds starting to pick up out to our west. We have a weak wave. It's going to slide across Nebraska into northern Missouri. It's not going to affect us. All it will do is just give us some clouds. And then here's our weekend storm system. It's like two chunks of energy. And once this gets onshore tomorrow, then we'll start to really, the models will greatly improve because it will be over land. Then we're really going to be able to break this storm system down as we go into the weekend. All right, let's walk through time. A lot of clouds, especially north of I-44 tonight, upper 20s to near 30. As we go into the noon hour, warmer tomorrow, mid-40s, partly sunny skies, most of us 49 or 50 degrees. Pretty good day. A lot of clouds tomorrow night into Friday morning. Then we clear out, mid-20s, so cold. And then Friday's going to be a cooler day. We're only going to go back up into lower 40s, very similar to what we have seen today. Day planner on Thursday, 32 to start, 45 by noon. High temp, not bad, right around 49 degrees. All right, let's go into the weekend. So this is a tricky forecast because if our storm system wobbles 50 miles north or south, it changes our entire forecast. It shifted north last night and it's been shifting back south throughout the daytime hours today. As of right now, and again, this is going to change, we should by Saturday afternoon, northern counties starting with snow and then freezing rain, mainly along and north of I-44. South of I-44 into Oklahoma, all rain. As we go through the night, warmer air should pump into this system, switching a good chunk of us over to a cold rain through Sunday morning. Then as the colder air filters in behind it, we should all finish with freezing rain over to snow. But again, if this system tracks a little farther north, we get all rain. If it tracks a little farther south, we're going to have all freezing rain and snow. All right, so the greater snow potential, where we're talking 6, 7, 8, probably 12 inches upwards of a foot from Topeka, Lawrence, Kansas City through central Missouri. Our northern counties, Pittsburgh north, should get some snow, lower accumulations, maybe a few inches, and then really no snow in our southern counties. Again, that could shift north or south. Greater threat for ice accumulation through southeastern Kansas into southwestern Missouri. And some of this ice could really pile up, upwards of 1/4 of an inch, maybe a little bit more than that. So a lot to watch as we head into the weekend. All right, 49 on your Thursday, 42 Friday. Rain and freezing rain increasing late Saturday. Rain, wintry mix into Sunday, and much colder for us early next week.
Yeah, it sounds like the weekend isn't going to be too pleasant.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
All right. All right, thanks, Doug. Well, coffee prices are up from about 11% from last year, and they're only expected to go higher in the new year. Coming up, a look at what's driving up your morning cup of joe.
Incredible savings going on now through New Year's Day.
Topping today's Consumer Watch, the new year is starting with some bad news for millions of Americans. Coffee is likely to get more expensive. Michael George explains.
Customers have been coming to Nicholas Coffee Company in Pittsburgh for more than a century, and currently the store is facing a modern challenge: the soaring price of coffee beans.
In the last decade, this is the highest it's been.
Third-generation owner Jordan Nicholas has always seen fluctuations, but these days some coffee commodities are trading around 70% higher than a year ago. That's because supplies are down after severe drought killed plants in Brazil and Vietnam.
This is a little unprecedented territory right now.
And it's not just the lack of supply that's driving prices.
You're talking about wage prices going up. You're talking about fuel prices that have gone up, transportation that's gone up. It's really a whole bunch of combination of things that are actually impacting the price of coffee.
The price many consumers pay for coffee is up about 11% from a year ago, and that daily cup is expected to get more expensive. The companies behind brands like Folgers, Dunkin' Donuts at-home coffee, and Nespresso have already announced price increases, and others could follow suit.
We'll start to see some of that impact in January. The prices will go up, and that's usually kind of when most companies will increase prices.
Nicholas is trying to keep prices in check.
Try to absorb as much as we can. May not pass on the whole amount of that.
That's because he wants customers to keep coming through the door. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
Well, our Pet Vet on Call is next, and we'll be right back.
Closed captioning is brought to you by... Salute Frank Miles, a four-state hero.
Up next on the CBS Evening News, a new kind of harvest for Iowa farmers. We head to the Hawkeye State, where wind farms are cropping up to help offset declining profits. And then on KOAM News at 6, we take you on 2025's first day hike through Crawford State Park. Plus, several nonprofits in Northeast Oklahoma received generous donations of ground beef this holiday season, thanks to one Bartlesville family. And the Kansas Shrine Bowl releases its summer roster. Stay with us for the CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. Now, if you have a bird feeder, you may think now is the time to take it down and store it for the winter. On the contrary, now is the perfect time to restock or even expand your bird feeding station. Today's question for our Pet Vet on Call: why do some bird species migrate for winter while others do not?
Well, that is all about the source and supply of their food. Birds that have to migrate are those that eat insects and fruit. Fruits grow and ripen at different times of the year in different zones. And the mosquitoes, of course, like fruits, so little birds follow that. Those are your little songbirds. The other birds that have to migrate are those that eat fish and water plants. Those are like your ducks and your geese. Obviously, when the waters freeze up north, they go south. When the waters in the south dry up, they go up north. They have to migrate to sustain their lives. Those that kind of have to, but maybe not necessarily need to, are those that eat the bugs inside the bark of trees. Those are your like woodpeckers and chickadees. If there's enough bugs in the trunks of trees, in the bark of trees, they can stay there all winter. If not, then they leave. And then there's those that never have to migrate. Those are the ones that are scavengers, like your crows and your pigeons. They've evolved eating just about anything. Any trash humans throw out, they can eat grains, they can eat seeds, they can eat anything. And the other birds that never have to migrate are those that eat other animals, like little mice and birds and things. Those are your hawks, your falcons, your owls. So it's all about what's on that meal ticket.
Well, thanks for the question. We invite questions from anyone. If you have one, just send it to petvet@koamtv.com. Dr. Eva Dudek from the Parsons Pet Hospital answers a different question or brings us a fun fact every Wednesday on KOAM News at 5. You can also find answers to previous questions on our website. Now let's check out our picks of the litter for the week from the Joplin Humane Society. We've chosen this young male lab mix. The society says he's sweet, smart, and has a winning personality. He's also high energy. His name is Auguste. And from the Southeast Kansas Humane Society, we have this domestic short-hair young male cat named Socks. So cute. So if you're looking for a pet, why not check out your local Humane Society? Final check of the weather.
Yeah, it's going to be cold tonight. We drop back into the upper 20s. A little bit warmer tomorrow, 49. A lot of clouds, 42. So we go back down on Friday. And then rain and freezing rain increasing late Saturday. Rain depending on where you live, freezing rain also depending on where you live. So.
Definitely not a good weekend for your pets
No,
outdoors.
it'll be a good weekend indoors.
There you go. Well, thanks for joining us. The CBS Evening News is next. And of course, we'll be right back here for KOAM News at 6. And we'll see you then. Have a great evening and an even better tomorrow.